Joining us as always on these JAWS webinars, Elizabeth Whitaker from Vispero, technical writer, and done many of these. This is going to be really good. Let's talk about challenges specifically for Windows 10. There's a learning curve associated with any upgrade of Windows, and that was very true when Windows 10 came out. There's a perceived lack of resources in learning Windows 10, especially from a blindness perspective. The start menu is configured differently than it ever was in the past, which can lead to some angst and some uncertainty as to how to do things. Selecting a location to save a file is difficult because that whole dialog box has changed, and so it's different trying to figure out how to do it. So we'll talk about a lot of that stuff today. Our objectives: we're going to review strategies to navigate 4 regions of the Windows 10 desktop. We'll list steps to move, read, and dismiss Windows 10 desktop notifications. 3 benefits of executing a search from the start menu in Windows 10. And with that, let's turn it over to Liz.
All right. Thanks so much, Paul. And thank you again to APH for having me as always. So yeah, Windows 10, even if you have been using it for a while, can be a bit tricky sometimes to navigate when you're using JAWS, just because, as Paul said, there are a lot of changes. There are things that you may have been accustomed to doing in previous versions of Windows, and now those items are located somewhere else, or you have to get to them some other way. And another thing about Windows is there's usually, just like with any computer application, there's usually more than one way of performing a specific task. So today I'm just going to talk to you about navigating. I'm going to demonstrate as well navigating with JAWS, some of the common areas here in Windows 10, and give you some shortcuts that will hopefully help you perform some of these tasks, faster and more efficiently. And the poll questions, that information was extremely helpful because we're going to be covering a lot of that stuff today. So feel free to ask your questions, and I'm going to give you some keyboard commands as well. So I just want to talk a little bit about keyboard commands and things first, but before I do that, let's talk about what we're going to cover today. So I'm going to start out by telling you a little bit about how to navigate the Windows desktop, how to explore the task view, the taskbar, and the notifications area or system tray. We're going to talk about accessing Windows notifications just a little bit here, searching for folders, files, or applications. I know you guys mentioned that in the poll questions as well. Exploring the start menu, that's another one that's changed, like we said. Changing settings, accessing folders and files using this PC. Creating a folder, selecting a folder when you're opening or saving a file, and then finally sign out, restart, or shut down. So keyboard commands, as a JAWS user, of course, that's what we have to use in order to navigate. But most of the keyboard commands I'm going to be talking about today are Windows commands, which means that you don't actually have to be using JAWS in order to, or even running JAWS in order to use them. And I'll tell you which ones are Windows and which ones are JAWS. But I just wanted to let you know that in order to, there are just so many quick ways of doing certain things, and there's so many keyboard commands. And if you guys have any out there that you want to share that you use that I don't mention, feel free to share those, because sometimes we get used to navigating a certain way, and I know oftentimes I'll learn about a keyboard command that I didn't previously know about, and then it just makes life so much easier. So all right, let's talk about navigating the desktop. I'm just going to talk through this here for a minute, and then I'm going to share my screen and demonstrate with you here. The desktop, of course, includes shortcuts to frequently used items, whether they're applications. Sometimes people will put shortcuts on the desktop to folders and files. Now, I want to make one really important distinction here. When you place a shortcut on the desktop or in the start menu or somewhere like that, it is just that. It's a shortcut. It's not actually the application or the folder or the file. It's a shortcut to that item. So, if that item is ever removed, that shortcut may still be hanging around out there on the desktop. So if you try to go to it, it'll tell you that it can't find that item. But most of the time, that of course, the shortcuts are tied to the item that you want to go to. And for example, if you have a shortcut to Microsoft Word, it could either be called Word or Microsoft Word, whatever you want to call it, because you can rename those. And it'll take you straight to that application. So I just wanted to make that distinction that these are shortcuts to items, not actually the items themselves. And of course, you can add and remove shortcuts to your desktop to customize it. Mine tends to be pretty full. I need to probably go ahead and fix that and reduce that a bit. But you can use your arrow keys to navigate the desktop. So there are a couple ways to get to the desktop, a couple keyboard commands here, and I'll show you those, of course. You can press Windows key plus D, or you can press Windows key plus M. They'll both minimize and go to the desktop, but if you press Windows key plus D, you go to the desktop, and then you press it again, it'll take you back to the application that you were just in. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and you guys will be able to hear JAWS. So I'm going to share my sound and then share my screen.
Screen share, meeting controls. You are viewing.
Okay, can you?
Task switching, JAWS and Windows.
I'm in a document here. Can you guys see that?
Yes, we've
And-
got your JAWS and Windows 10 APH webinar notes document.
Okay, great. All right, great. So here I am in a document. Now, if I want to go to the desktop, I can press Windows key plus M.
Windows M, desktop, folder view, list view, JAWS 2021.
And here I am on the desktop. Now, if I pressed again, nothing happens.
Windows M.
Right, because I'm still on the desktop. And I can verify that. Now, here's a JAWS command. That was a Windows command. Okay, that was Windows M. That was a Windows command. And when I say Windows, I'm talking about the Windows logo key. I'm going to press Insert and the letter T. This is a JAWS command. This is going to read the window title to me here.
Title is Desktop 1.
Okay, it's a Desktop 1. The reason it says that is that you can have multiple desktops in Windows. We're not going to get into that today, but you can actually have multiple desktops there. All right, so I'm going to Alt-Tab, which is another Windows command, back over here
JAWS and Windows
to
10
my
APH,
document.
JAWS.
And I'm going to use Windows D. I'm going to press Windows D.
Windows D, folder view, list view, JAWS 2021, 6 of 11.
All right, notice it said JAWS 2021, 6 of 11. That's letting me know what item my focus is on. It says it's 6 of 11. That means that it's on the 6th of 11 items. And it will usually remain focused on whatever you were on last. So the last thing I went to on my desktop was JAWS 2021. So there we are. It's still there. All right, so I'll press Windows D again.
Windows D, JAWS and Windows 10 APH.
And here I am back in my document. I can press Insert T.
Title is JAWS and Windows 10 APH webinar notes.
And there I am. So let's go back to the desktop. I'm going to go ahead and press Windows D again. And you can choose which keyboard command you want to use. I just wanted to show you
Windows D, folder view, list view, JAWS 2021.
Both of those options that you could use there. All right, so here I am on my desktop. I can use my up and down arrow keys.
FS Reader 3.0, 3 of 11. Recycle bin, 1 of 11.
All right, so it said recycle bin, 1 of 11. I can hit right arrow here.
Acrobat Reader DC, 2 of 11.
These are in 2 columns, so I can go back to the left.
Recycle.
I can go down.
FS Reader 3.0, JAWS 2021, Microsoft Edge.
And I can, go to the right and go up and down that column as well. Or I can do what's called first letter navigation. So if I know, for example, I know that JAWS is on the desktop, the shortcut to JAWS is on the desktop. So I can press the letter J.
JAWS 2021, 6 of 11.
And there it goes. Or I could press E. Let's see if it's under Microsoft Edge or Edge. Okay, I pressed E, it dinged at me. So that's not it. I'm going to press the letter M.
Microsoft Edge, 7 of 11.
So I just wanted to show you what happened if you pressed a letter that you didn't have anything on your desktop that began with that letter. So that is just a little bit of just a short overview of how to navigate your desktop. And so if you want to activate an item,
JAWS, Microsoft Edge.
for example, Microsoft Edge, I could press enter and it would open Microsoft Edge.
Enter. New tab, Microsoft Edge.
And there we have it. I can press insert T to verify that.
Title is New tab, Work, Microsoft Edge.
And there it goes. And then I can press Alt F4.
Alt F4, desktop.
To get out of, to close that browser and go back to the desktop. All right, so I'm going to go back here and
JAWS and meeting controls. Meeting
stop
Alt-X.
sharing the screen here. Give it back to you, Nikki. And so that's just a little bit about navigating the desktop. Now, of course, the more you have on your desktop, the more you're going to have to navigate. So this is actually a pretty clean desktop compared to what mine, typically sometimes looks like. But I try to keep it pretty clean because that way I don't have as many things to arrow through. If I don't remember what, letter something starts with or what it's called, I can just arrow through there. All right, so let's talk about exploring the taskbar here. We're going to talk about exploring the other options that are on the in the desktop area. So we have exploring, we're going to explore the taskbar and the notifications area or the system tray. We're going to talk about what those are. So when you're on the desktop, you can just press the tab key to navigate to each area. And I'm going to demonstrate this here in just a second. Then you can use the arrow keys to move around those areas in each section, or the items in each section. The Windows 10 taskbar is typically located at the bottom of the screen, and it contains a few different areas, really 4 distinct areas. You have the start menu, you have shortcuts to applications that are currently running, you have the notifications area, and then you also have pinned applications that you have pinned to your taskbar. We're not going to get into how to do that today because that's a little more advanced and would, could be a whole new training of itself. But that's something that we can, definitely explore in the future because it is very, very useful. And there's some great keyboard commands for getting to those things very quickly. So the start menu contains shortcuts to applications, files, settings, and things like that. We're going to talk about the start menu here in just a little bit specifically. So I'm not going to get into that right this minute, but it is a lot different than it used to be, as I'm sure you've noticed. Now, the notification area or the system tray includes items such as your clock, your battery status, your internet connection information, that status, things like that. And alternatively, you can press Insert F11, and that's a JAWS key, to open the system tray dialog. So like I said, that's a JAWS command, and I will show you that here in just a few minutes. And then, then you'll have access to that notifications area. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen once again here and demonstrate to you guys how to navigate around these areas. All right, we should be.
You are viewing Windows M desktop.
All right,
Folder
you guys see the desktop here, JAWS speaking here?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm on the desktop and I can just use the tab key here to move forward through these items.
Start button.
So there's the start button. If I were to press enter or space, I could go to the start menu there.
Type here the search button.
Here I could search, but I could press the space bar because it said button. So it lets me know it's a button.
Talk to Cortana button.
All right, there's your talk to Cortana.
Task view button.
There's task view. We're going to look at some of these more in depth here in just a few minutes.
Taskbar Microsoft Edge button.
There's the taskbar.
Notification chevron button.
There's our notifications area.
Show desktop button.
And that show desktop button. And if I tab,
desktop.
I'm back on the desktop. So here, we're just going to go through these again, and I'm going to take you through a couple of them.
Start button. Type here to search button. Talk to Cortana button. Task view button.
Okay, so let's see what happens if I press space here on task view.
Space. Running applications list box. Meeting controls 1 of 2.
All right, so we have something here that popped up in a list box, and this says running applications.
List box. Learn more link. Earlier today. Word. Running application.
So this will show me.
JAWS and Windows 10 AP meeting controls.
All right, so here we have a list box, and I press the right arrow because when I press down arrow, I know that I have 2 things open. I know that I have Zoom, and I know that I have my notes document, and I also have JAWS running.
JAWS meeting controls. JAWS and Windows meeting controls.
But here
1 of 2.
it's showing me. So that's how I knew to try to go ahead and press right arrow, because if I press down arrow,
List box. Learn more link.
it says learn more.
Earlier today. Word. JAWS and Windows 10 APH web.
And then it says earlier today. So I could just keep going down through all of this.
Yesterday. Word. Word. Blog May 9th. Word. Coca-Cola paper bottle.
And it shows me things that I've read. It shows me things that.
JAWS and Windows 10 webinar handout.
And it shows me things that I've worked on. So it shows me the documents I've worked on. So I could tab through this box. Let's see what happens here.
Search button. New desktop button. Running applications list box. Meeting control.
So those are our options. So if you go to task view, it's going to really show you what you've been working on, what things that you, so that's also a quick way to find certain things, because if I go up here,
list box,
I'll press down.
Yesterday, May 9th. Yesterday, Word, JAWS and Windows 10 May 9th. Word, Coca-Cola, May 6th. Word, JAWS and Windows 10 webinar handout. Docs.
And if I wanted to open that, I could press
Enter.
Enter.
New desktop button. JAWS and Windows 10 webinar handout. Word, print view.
And that could be an easy way. If I know I just worked on that document yesterday or last week, that could be an easy way of finding that document without actually having to search for it specifically by name. Because let's say I didn't remember it by name. That's a really good way to find that. Now I'm going to close this document, but let's make sure I'm in that window, the right window. So I'll press Insert T.
Title is JAWS and Windows 10 webinar handout. Alt F4, JAWS and Windows 10.
Okay, and it kept me in Word, so I'm going to press Alt Tab here.
Meeting control, JAWS and Windows 10 APH web.
Okay, so what happened here, because I press Alt Tab, if I hold down Alt and keep pressing Tab, it's cycling me through the last 2. Well, it's actually cycling me through all my open applications, but.
Meeting controls, JAWS and Windows 10 meeting controls.
So I know that that dialog closed. So I'm going to go back to my desktop.
Windows M folder.
So when I chose that document, when I said I want to open this document and I pressed enter, it opened the document and it closed that task view dialog. Let's go
Start
back.
Button. Type here to search.
I'm tabbing.
Talk to task view button.
And I'm going to press space.
Space. Running applications list box meeting controls. Running applications list box meeting controls.
All right. And then if I down arrow.
List box. Learn more link. Earlier today. Word. JAWS and Windows 10 APH webinar notes. Docs. 1 of 3.
And then we're back to where we were. I could right arrow.
Word. JAWS and Windows 10 APH webinar notes. Docs.
So there's just an easy way to get to things that you've done for, recently. Now I'll press escape to get out of this.
Escape. New desktop button. Taskbar.
And
Taskbar Microsoft.
We're back to where we were. Okay.
Task view.
So now let's tab to the taskbar.
Taskbar Microsoft Edge button.
So here on the taskbar, it said Microsoft Edge. So that is pinned to the taskbar. I can press my right arrow key here.
File Explorer button.
That's also on the taskbar, the File Explorer, which is where you can go to locate folders and files.
Microsoft Store button.
There's the Microsoft Store.
Word 1 running window button menu.
Now it said Word 1 running window. So it knows that Word is running and it knows that there's one window open there.
Zoom 1 running window button menu.
It knows that Zoom is running.
Microsoft Edge button.
So we're back to Edge. And then if I go back to the Word window.
Zoom 1 Word 1 running window button menu.
And I'll press down arrow.
Blank running applications taskbar. Task switcher list box JAWS and Windows 10 APH webinar notes Word.
And so there again, we have, you can drill down in here and get to documents that are running. You can press enter on an application to get to it, whether it's running or not. Let me press escape. And so that's how you navigate the taskbar. You just navigate with your arrow keys, your right and left, and then your up and down arrow keys. So, if you just want to explore it, go go try some things in there, see how many things you have open and see what you have, pinned to your taskbar.
Taskbar Microsoft Edge notification chevron from Debbie Gillespie. Taskbar Microsoft.
Okay, one more thing I do want to point out here. Let me go down.
Microsoft Edge, Microsoft File Explorer button, Microsoft Store button, Word 1 running window.
Okay, I'm
button,
going
menu.
to the right. All right. When you're on an item and this item is open, I'm going to do a right click. You can press Shift F10.
Applications, press.
Or you can
Windows
press
Shell
Applications.
Experience Host. Items list box. Recent unavailable. JAWS and Windows 10. JAWS Coca-Cola.
So,
Escape. Taskbar Word 1
I
running
messed up
window.
you get more options, right? So you press either Shift F10 or Applications.
Applications. Context menu. Toolbar sub-menu.
And you have a context menu.
Search sub-menu. Show Cortana button. Show task view button. Show people on the taskbar. Show Windows Ink workspace button. Show touch keyboard button. Cascade windows unavailable. Show Windows stacked unavailable. Show Windows side-by-side unavailable.
And so these are all unavailable, but these are ways that you could arrange your windows. But with JAWS, we're not going to worry about that right now because
show the desktop.
We need things to be as clean as possible when we're navigating.
Undo, minimize all, task manager.
But so you have a lot of options there. So
escape.
And the reason I'm showing you that is there are times when you might be looking for a setting or you might be looking for something specific. And there's usually a lot of information in those context menus. All right, so
Taskbar Microsoft Edge notification chevron button.
Now we have the notifications area, and when we're here, we can just use our down arrow key.
System tray 2 apps are using your microphone button. User promoted notification area. User promoted notification area. Fully charged 100%.
So that's my battery status.
User promoted notification area. KCS 5. User promoted notification area. Speakers USB 54% button.
All right. And so you can just down arrow through here for all the different pieces of information.
User promoted notification area. System clock 11:58 a.m. Action center. No new notifications button.
So there's, that's how you can navigate. And if you want to go to any of those items, you just press enter. The other way to do that is to get to the system tray. There is a keyboard command, which is insert F11.
Select the system tray icon dialog. Select the system tray icon list box. Notification chevron 1 of 7.
All right. So here we have all these items that came up in a list box, and this is a dialog box, and it's a JAWS command. So we can arrow through these.
2 apps are using your microphone. Fully charged 100%. KCS 5.1 internet access. Speakers USB 54.
And if we want to get rid of it without choosing something, let me down arrow here.
System clock. Action center. No.
And see if it shows. Okay. We can tab through this.
Right single click button. Alt. Left single click button. Left double click button. Cancel button. Select the system tray.
And that's really all we have are the abilities to right and left click. I can press escape to get out of this.
Escape. Action center. No new notification.
So there's an easy way to get to the system tray. It's just insert F11 with JAWS.
Taskbar Microsoft show desktop folder view.
And here I am back on my desktop. So I know there was a lot of stuff in there that I just kind of went through quickly, but sometimes it's fun just to explore your desktop and to see what things that you have there.
Meeting control.
So I'm going to let's stop here and see if anybody has any questions.
I'll
share my screen here.
Yes, Elizabeth, we've had a number of questions come in the chat,
good.
so I'm going to start at the top.
Great.
How long does task view keep your history?
Ooh, that's a great question. Let me see. Let me go there and see what mine. I'm not absolutely certain about that. I think mine goes back as far as May the 6th.
Okay, so a few days at least.
Maybe, yeah.
Awesome.
And there may be a way to set that as well. I'm not sure.
Great. The next question is, when do you use space or enter? Is it enter when it is an application or file?
That is an excellent question. Definitely on an application or file, you usually want to use enter. If it's a button, oftentimes you can use either. JAWS will sometimes tell you, if you have it set to tell you these things, it'll say to activate, press the space bar. On the desktop, if you're choosing an item, if you press space, If that item is not selected, the space bar will select it and then you can press enter. So it's one of those things you can try either and see which works if you're not sure. But if it's a button, usually you can use the space bar.
Great. And then this wasn't a question, but more of a comment to share another keystroke.
Sure.
I like Windows plus B to go to the system tray, but sometimes I prefer Insert plus F11.
Yes, and that's a good point. You can use Windows B for system tray. Yeah, there's several different keyboard commands you can use, and that's thank you for sharing that, because yeah, that's very quick.
All right, well, that's it for right now. In terms of
Okay.
questions, again, feel free to post questions in the chat during Elizabeth's presentation.
Sure. And I just as just a side note, kind of a tip, I just wanted to share with you guys too. So a really quick way to check your battery status, if you're using a laptop and you have put the keyboard in laptop mode, even laptop layout, the keyboard, even if you have a numpad on that laptop, if you put it in a laptop layout in JAWS, you go to JAWS, you go to options and basics, and then there it has, you can choose whether you want desktop or laptop layout. If you choose laptop layout, you can check your battery status by holding down caps lock, shift, and the letter B, because when you have it in laptop layout, the caps lock becomes insert. So the command for that is insert shift B. But I find it quite easy to, if you're using, say, your left hand, if you're able to do this, you can hold down shift and caps lock at the same time and then press the letter B, and that will tell you your battery status. And it'll also tell you your network status. So I just wanted to pass that on because it was kind of a neat thing there. All right. So we're going to go on to accessing Windows notifications. All right, so Windows notifies you of all kinds of things. It'll let you know when you have new emails, installed applications, system updates. And sometimes it's really frustrating because you'll hear a notification come in and then all of a sudden it goes away. And you think, well, how do I get to that now? Where do I go? You can access your notifications by pressing the Windows key plus the letter A, alpha, Windows A. The notifications for each application are then displayed in individual list boxes. So you can press the tab key to move through those different list boxes, and then use your arrow keys when you're in a list box to up and down arrow through there to hear the notifications for that application. And you can dismiss notifications for each application, or you can dismiss them for all applications. So, and there's some other stuff that you can do to manage notifications. And again, we don't really, unfortunately, have time to get into that today, but that's some useful stuff that we can get into in the future as well. So let me share my screen again here. And let's check this out. All right.
Screen ship meeting control. You are viewing Windows M folder view list view.
Okay, so do you guys see my desktop in here, JAWS here?
JAWS 2020.
Yes, we can see your desktop.
Okay, good. All right, so it doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to be on the desktop. You can press Windows A.
Windows A. Windows Shell Experience Host. Manage notifications.
And I can tab here.
From list box, notifications from Outlook.
And it said notifications from Outlook. I could down arrow.
Betsy Huggins, Rob Stein, Corey Perlander, Betsy.
And I could, those are different emails that I've received. If I wanted to go to one, I could press enter, or I can tab.
Clear this notification button, 1 of 6. Collapse this notification button, 2 of 6. Settings for this notification button, 3 of 6. Delete button, 4. Flag button, 5 of dismiss button, 6 of 6.
So if I want to dismiss this notification, I can space.
Space. Expand quick action, clear all notifications button.
And I could just tab through here. And so you could tab to different applications that you have notifications for. And here it says clear all notifications.
Space. Location button not checked. No new notifications.
And it says no new notifications, and I can press escape.
Escape.
So, oh, what do we have?
Title is desktop.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Start button. Folder view.
For some reason,
Team
it
view.
wasn't
Microsoft.
speaking.
Desk.
Okay. So Windows A, and you're just going to tab through the different options there. And when you hear notifications, it'll read for what application, like Outlook or Skype or Teams or something like that. And then you can up and down arrow through those notifications, and you can press enter if you have one, for example, an email and you want to go straight to it, or you can tab and you get a lot of other options. All right.
Meeting controls.
So I'm going to hand the screen
Alt-S.
back over to Nikki here, and we're going to move on to another topic here.
Before we move on, Elizabeth, do you have a moment to take a few questions
Sure,
that have come in?
absolutely.
Okay, so the first one is, how do you exit task view if you don't choose an item?
You press escape. That's a great question. Press escape.
Great. Is there a command to jump to task view? Might have missed it.
Oh, there probably is. Maybe. I'm not sure what that is. I will look that up for you guys and see if I can find that. There probably is, because the Windows, Windows B goes to, okay, Windows T jumps you to the task bar. Let's see if, oops. Okay, I'm not sure about that one. I know Windows T jumps you to the taskbar, but I'll have to see if there is a shortcut for that.
All right, and then the last question. I don't understand the command to change to laptop mode with the limited directions that I found on the internet. Can you please expand or explain?
Sure, how about I demonstrate that quickly?
Awesome.
Let's do that. Let me go back over here and share my screen.
Screen share.
Okay, so
Rachel. Windows M folder.
And Elizabeth, we've had a request, if you don't mind turning up the volume of your JAWS so that people can hear it.
All right.
Space.
Oh, wait.
Escape. Space. Volume. JAWS. V8, 86%. 88%.
Is that getting better?
Yeah, I think that's, I'm having an easier time hearing it myself.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry about that. All right.
From Becca Weber to all panelists, Windows tab takes you to the task view.
Aha, Windows tab takes you to the task view. Awesome, thank you.
Yes, and someone also dropped Windows plus A for task view.
Okay, because Windows A will take you to notifications, but it might take you
From
there
Kelly
as well.
Burma to everyone.
So, and just to let you guys know, to turn up the JAWS volume there, this is a new feature that we have. You press insert space to go to our layered command, and then you press the letter V for volume, and you can press either J for JAWS or S for system. And then you can up and down arrow to turn up that volume. So yeah, thank you guys for letting me know that it needed to be turned up. All right, so I'm going to go here. I'm on the desktop, and I'm going to go to JAWS. I'm going to press J.
JAWS 2021.
And I'm going to press enter.
Enter. JAWS context menu.
Now, if you have JAWS running in a separate window, you could just press insert J and it'll take you to that window. And I could have done the same thing and it will take me to this context menu. So here we are.
Options.
Go to options and press enter.
Enter. Basics. ...
And I'll press enter on basics.
Enter. Leaving menus. Basic settings dialog.
And I'm going to tab here until I get to keyboard layout.
Access key speak all rate. Automatically start JAWS. Prompt to confirm when. Automatic notification of update. Run JAWS from system tray. Show virtual viewer on screen. Use keyboard layout. Combo box. Laptop. 2 of 3. Alt plus L. All
right. So now you heard it say Alt plus L. So that's for laptop layout. You can up and down arrow through this list.
Desktop, laptop, 2 of 3.
And
Kinesis, 3 of 3.
That's something different, but I want to up arrow to laptop.
Laptop, 2 of 3.
And then you can just press the enter key.
Enter.
And Now, how that set off my voice assistant, I'm really not sure. But I press the enter key and that will take effect. And so when you do that, your
Windows M folder view.
Caps lock key becomes insert. So if I press caps lock once, it doesn't say anything. That's because it's an insert key. I can press caps lock T.
Title is desktop 1.
For Windows title, I could use that as my insert key. However, if you do want to use caps lock, you can press it twice quickly.
Caps lock on.
And that turns it on, and then you press it twice quickly again.
Caps lock off. To
turn it off. So that's how you get to the laptop layout. And if you have any questions about that, or you have any questions about the JAWS settings and things that we're moving through today as well, send us an email to training@vispero.com. And if you need help setting that keyboard layout, we can definitely help you with that.
Meeting controls.
So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and
Alt-S.
see what other questions that we had here.
Great. Give me a second to go through them. We've had a lot of responses on the task view. Yeah, it doesn't look like we have any questions, other questions that have come in.
Okay.
So if I've missed your question, please just post it again. I did turn off the chat for just a minute since it was coming through on Elizabeth's JAWS. So yes, let me know if I've missed your question, but I think we're good.
Okay. All right, we're going to talk about searching for a folder, a file, or an application. And to me, this is one of the most valuable things, most valuable features in Windows because especially, well, I say because, especially since the start menu has changed so drastically. And this is a great feature to use as Windows search. So you can use Windows search to quickly find a folder, a file, an application, various things. And you can do that by pressing the Windows key, and that will access the search. And then you just type what you want to search for, and you press your arrow keys then to go through those search results. And I'm going to show you how that works. And then when you find what you want, you just press the enter key. So let's go back here and share my screen.
Screen share, meeting control, you are viewing.
All right, let's go back. I just like to go to the desktop for whatever
Windows
reason.
M, folder view,
you don't
list
have
view.
to be. All right, can you guys hear that and see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I will search for Microsoft Word. Or no, let's go. That's already open. I'll search for Chrome. So I'll press the Windows key.
Search box edit.
It said search box edit. I'll type the word Chrome. And sometimes you don't even have to type all of what you're searching for, but I'll go ahead and start typing.
Google Chrome app. Press right to switch preview.
All right. So I typed CHR and that's what it found. So now I heard it say Google Chrome, but I'm going to go ahead and down arrow here.
CHR. Find results in apps. Chrome setup.x app. Press right to switch preview. Find results in search work and web. CHR. Find result. Bing. Search box edit. Google Chrome app. Press right to switch preview.
All right. So it gave me some options there. It kind of, said, hey, you can search the internet
From
for this.
Gillespie
You can search, some settings. But here it said Google Chrome app. And that's what I'm looking for. So if I were to enter here.
Enter.
Let's see what happens.
Selected. About blank. Untitled Google Chrome.
And it goes to Chrome.
Google search Christopher McCandless. Alt F4.
And I can Alt F4 out of that. Okay, so
Windows M folder.
That's how you can search for an application. Now, if I want to search for a folder, I'm going to Windows again.
Search box edit.
And I'm going to type documents.
Documents, file folder, press right to switch preview.
Okay, so I know that's it. I know that I can press enter here and be on my documents folder. Let's down arrow.
Doku, find results in search. Doku, see work and web results. Find results in folders. Documents, file folder and default. Press right to switch preview.
So there it told me find results in folders. So I know here we're going to get a list of folders that have the word documents in them.
Public documents, file folder. Press right to switch preview. Find results in apps. Find results in settings. Find results in documents.
So that's just a good way, that's easy way to find documents. Now I'm going to press escape to get out of this.
Escape. Escape. Meeting. JAWS. Meeting controls.
All right.
Meeting.
You don't have to be on the desktop, but I
Windows
like
M.
to.
Folder
I don't know
view.
why. I don't always do that if I want to search, but for now. All right. So looking for a file, this is where things get really interesting, because if you know the file name or part of the file name, you can do a search and hopefully come up with all the files on your computer that start with that particular word or set of letters. So for example, I write a lot of blog posts. So if I want to do a search for the word blog, if I'm looking for a certain blog post, you know, like for example, student of the month. We have, you know, this contest every month, student of the month. And if I want to look for all the blog posts that are pertaining to student of the month, I can press Windows key.
Search box edit.
I can type the word blog. I
Blog.
can space and I can type student.
Blog post April 2021 FS Student of the Month.
And it comes up with that first one. There are a lot of ways to do that, but that's just one way to kind of group terms together. If you know you want to find all of those files, I can down arrow.
Student. Find result.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. What you're looking for here is find results in documents.
Blog post April 2021 FS Student of the Month. April Students of the Month. Find results and search work at blog student. See blog student diversity and
Okay, it's looking on the web.
blog post April 20.
Okay, let me
Find results in document.
There it goes. It said it. Find results in documents. So now I know that I can find here if I just press down arrow.
Blog post April 2020 blank bit.
Or
search find results in documents.
It said find results in documents. I can press enter.
Enter. Blog post April 2021 FS Student of the Month. Blog post April 2021 FS Student. Blog post April April Students. Blog Student. See it.
And it still found those same files. So I can press escape.
Escape.
So
escape.
Sometimes you'll find that
Windows M, JAWS 2020.
You know, depending on how you type the search in, you might want to type. That was a pretty narrow search because I typed blog and student. If I just wanted to type student of the month or just student, I could do that and make it a little broader, and it would come up with more results. But that is another quick way to find a document that you know the name of, or at least part of the title.
Meeting controls.
All right, so I think we have a poll question coming up here, don't we?
Yes. All right, here we go.
Okay.
We do have that coming up now.
Right.
And this poll question is, what is the keyboard command to activate Windows search? Your choices are Alt plus Control plus Delete, Alt plus Control plus Windows, the Windows key by itself, or JAWS key plus the Windows key. Which one is going to bring up Windows search? Alt Control Delete, Alt Control Windows, Windows key, or JAWS key plus Windows key?
Great. And while people are filling out that poll, Elizabeth, we've had 2 questions come in.
Okay.
I found that you can just change the modifier key in the JAWS settings and not change the layout. Is there an advantage or disadvantage to this?
You can do that. You can change the modifier key, meaning the JAWS key, you can change it to a different key. Some people prefer doing that. You just have to make sure that it's not a key that's being used for another application that will, mean that you can't use that other application or perform a certain task in the application. But yeah, there are, definitely it's a personal, preference to how you want to set that up.
Great. And someone has asked that you demonstrate command search for JAWS keystroke to access task view when
Sure.
we're back in demo mode.
Yeah, I can do that.
Great. Well, we've had about 57% vote in our poll. So keep taking a look at that. The question is, what is the keyboard command to activate Windows search? And as soon as we end the poll, we'll give it back to Elizabeth to go back into demonstration. So we'll give you just another few seconds to answer that poll question. And again, the chat is currently open if you want to drop any questions or things that you'd like Elizabeth to demo in the chat. All right, looks like our response to the poll has slowed down. So for the question, what is the keyboard command to activate Windows search? 90% of our responders chose Windows key. A few chose JAWS key plus Windows key, and just a few also chose Alt plus Control plus Windows. Elizabeth, what was the correct answer?
Windows key.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah, you guys did good.
All right, so Elizabeth, we can hand it back to you.
Okay. Great. Let me demonstrate this. Now, JAWS command search is one of my favorite features of JAWS for absolute sure, because you can go in and you can search for commands that you don't know. Okay, so now I'm
Screen share.
screen.
You are viewing a
Oh.
You have stopped Nikki Black.
Oh, okay. It's telling me things, I think, after the
Windows
fact.
M. Folder view list view.
Can you guys see my screen now? Did it work?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so this is a layered command. Layered commands are really, really useful because they allow you to perform several different commands without holding down a whole bunch of keys at once. So for command search, you activate the command layer, which is insert space.
Space.
You heard that little click noise. You press the letter J for JAWS command search.
Search for JAWS commands dialog. Search for edit.
All right, so task view. Let's type in task view. And now I'm going to press down arrow.
View. Heading level 3 link toggle whether the Braille viewer is enabled.
Okay, now it found a bunch of things here that are task and view. Maybe task view is one word, I'm not sure, but we'll find out. I'm going to press the letter H because I know these are listed in headings.
Toggle whether the text viewer is enabled. Start JAWS task list. Insert plus F10. Shift 2 plus dot 5.
Now there's an interesting, you can get a task list with
View. Start JAWS task list. Insert plus F10.
insert F10.
View clipboard text. View system tray tooltips. Braille and text viewers layer help. Pan Braille viewer left. Pan Braille viewer right. Braille viewer prior line. Braille viewer next line. Pan text view. Pan text view. Show last.
I'm just pressing H to go through these.
Show SDM controls from script utility. Show current. Show window invert. Show frames text of display info about script. Show MSA. Show MSA window keys help. Insert plus W. Shift.
And I'm going to tell you about some of these too before we end today.
Wrapping to top.
All right, so let me go back to
escape. JAWS 20. Not selected. Recycle bin.
Let's do insert space. J.
Search for JAWS
and I'll type in task
for
view.
Edit. Top no.
And
task view. No results.
No results. Okay, so that one was not listed there, but
escape.
That's a Windows command though. So, but if you wanted to do a JAWS command, for example, let's do insert space J, and let's search for hotkeys.
Base hot. No. Hotkeys. Edit hotkeys. No results.
Oh.
Edit hotkeys. Selected.
Let's try
space.
keyboard.
Hot. Keyboard. Heading level 3 link locker unlock keyboard. Insert plus space L.
So here, if you just type in, a word or command that you want, these are JAWS commands. I can press H.
Keyboard help. Insert plus 1.
And that tells you how to get keyboard help. Insert plus 1 on the number row. And that's a toggle. You do that to turn it off too. So that's how command search works. You can just type in commands and press your down arrow key and then press the letter H to move through those different commands. And then your arrow keys to read them and then escape.
Escape folder view.
Get you back to your desktop.
Meeting control.
All right. So I'm going to turn it back over to Nikki here. And we are going to talk about, you guys are asking some great questions. You always do. All right, let's talk a little bit about the start menu. Once again, I don't want to get too deep into this one because the start menu is so different. If you're like me, you probably have used the start menu for years to find programs easily. You'd press the Windows key, down arrow, find your Microsoft Word, Outlook, your browser, whatever it is you were looking for. It is a lot different now, which is why the Windows search is so important. But you still can access apps and settings in the start menu, and it's kind of fun to explore. You can still customize the start menu, add things and remove them. You can add pin things to, they call it pinning, pin things to it to find them easily. And you can navigate to the different areas of the start menu by pressing the tab key and using shift tab to go back. Tab moves you forward, shift tab moves you back. Then you can press your down arrow key to navigate through the items in each area. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here once again.
Started screen.
All right, you
You are
guys
viewing
should be able
Windows
to
M,
hear
folder
and
view list.
see what's on the screen.
FS.
Yes, we've got a view of your desktop.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to press the Windows key, and as we know, what's going to happen is
Search box edit.
we get Windows search. But if I press tab,
Start list box. Toggle start navigation menu items collapsed. 1 of 6.
we have some options. We have a list box here we can up and down arrow through.
User account for Elizabeth Whitaker. Documents. 3 of 6. Pictures. 4 of 6.
And, here's a way to get to documents, pictures.
Settings. 5 of 6.
Settings.
Power. 6 of 6.
And there are your power settings there. So we could, get to those items. Now, everybody's start
Paul
menu
Ferrara has left.
is going to be different. So, what I find in mine, you may not find in yours. Yours may be configured differently. So it's really important to know that. So let's press the tab key again.
All apps checked. All apps list box. Number.
So here we have all apps.
3D viewer. 1.
I can use my arrow keys here, my down arrow key.
A. Access. 1. Acrobat Reader DC.
And it said A, so it's going to give me all the apps that start with A.
Alarms and clock. C. Calculator. Calendar. 2. Camera. 3 of 5. Cortana. 4 of 5. Silence folder collapsed.
Now, what I like about it here, though, is it's saying, like, for
Cortana.
example,
4 of 5.
camera 3 of 5.
Camera. 3 of 5.
So it's counting, it's giving you a count of the number of apps in that section. So it's not giving me a count of all of the apps. It's just saying 3 of 5 because there are 5 here that begin
Paul
with C.
Ferrara has joined. Cortana. D. Dell folder collapsed. 1 of 3.
And here it said D, and it said Dell folder 1 of 3. So you could just, use your arrow keys to find things there. Let's see what happens here if I hit the letter C.
C. Calculator.
You get that first letter navigation. So that's another good thing that you have here. If you don't know the name of an app or you're not sure what it's, you know what it is, but you might not know its exact name or whether it's, starts with a certain word or like Microsoft Word or just Word. That's a good example there. So let's tab again.
Pin tiles list box. Productivity group header.
These are where you can.
Office 1.
These are pin tiles. We're not going to worry about that for right now. There's just so much here in the start menu. And I think as you're navigating, sometimes if you just focus on the area that you want to go to specifically, it kind of reduces some of that clutter when you're going through and listening but it can be confusing. That's why I wanted to show you how to tab the different areas.
Search box edit.
And we're back to search. So, I use the search often. You may like to go in and press Windows key and tab to
start list box. All apps checked.
All apps and down arrow through there, or just when you're in all apps, press the first letter.
Pin tiles list box. Weather 1 of 1.
Okay, now I pressed W, and I guess Word wasn't listed in all apps, so it went straight to weather and pin tiles.
Pin tiles
but
list. Search. Start list. All apps checked.
All apps. If I press C,
calculator 1 of 1.
It goes to calculator. So it's one of those things that you may just have to explore and see how yours is set up, or you can just use search.
Escape.
Because, for example, if I press Windows key,
search box edit.
I'm in search. I can type CAL.
Calculator app.
And I'm on calculator, and I can press enter. So I'm going to press escape here.
Escape.
And
meeting controls.
Turn this back over to you guys. So yeah, you just press your Windows key and then you can tab through those different areas. And then when you're in each area, you can use your arrow keys. All right. So another thing that you guys mentioned in the poll questions that you had trouble with is changing settings. And I totally understand where you're coming from there because it can be really hard to find the setting. So, with Windows, you have lots of different things. You have control panel, you have settings, so it's, you think, well, where do I go for a specific thing? You can locate settings using Windows search, like we talked about earlier, and you can either type a specific setting into Windows search and then navigate directly to it, or you can just type the word settings and it'll take you, to the settings app. And if, of course, like we talked about, if focus doesn't land directly on settings or that particular setting, you can press your down arrow key, to navigate to what you're looking for. And then when you find what you're looking for, you just press enter. I use this all the time to find specific settings. I really, really like having that ability. And I'm going to show you how to navigate. Now, when you're in your settings, you can navigate using your tab key. And then, again, you'll have maybe combo boxes or list boxes that you can navigate using your up and down arrow keys. So let's go ahead and let me share my screen once again. Okay.
Meeting Windows M folder
Right,
view
can
list
you
view.
hear and see that? I'm back on my desktop.
Yes, we can see your desktop.
Okay, great. All right, so I can press the Windows key to bring up search.
Search box edit.
I can type settings.
Settings app. Press right to switch preview.
And it said settings app. I could press enter here.
Settings, enter, settings, search box, find the setting, edit.
And then I'm immediately, in a search box where I can find a setting or I can tab.
List box, system 1 of 13.
Through here, there's another list box. So you navigate your list box with your arrow keys and I can down arrow.
Network and internet, accounts, ease of access.
All right, so I could, just find what I wanted and then tab through here. If I already know what I'm looking for, so I'm going to press Alt F4 to get out of this.
Alt F4.
And
Windows M folder.
If I know what setting I want, for example, if I want to change for microphone setting, I can press the Windows key.
Search box edit.
And I can type microphone.
Microphone, Microsoft Teams app.
Oh,
press right.
Let's see.
Microphone setup, system settings. Press right to switch preview.
Okay. I may not want to set up a microphone, but let's go down.
Find microphone privacy settings, system settings. Press right to switch preview.
So there's another setting there. It's in system settings, a privacy setting.
Find and fix problems with speech. Control panel. Press right to switch preview.
Now that tells you that's in the control panel.
Find and fix problems with recording sound. Control panel.
That's also in control panel.
Turn off microphone access system-wide. System settings.
So it tells you where these particular settings are located. You just arrow to the one you want and press enter. So I'm going to get out of this.
Meeting controls.
And let's see if you guys have any questions because I've kind of been, going through this pretty quickly. So see if we got any questions.
No questions so far. We did have a few comments. I find that Windows key plus, I believe it's capital I, works great to get into settings quickly and reliably.
It does. It does. And that, like, once again, that's just another, great Windows hotkey that you can use. And that's the thing, there are so many shortcut keys that you can use. Or you can just type in the Windows search. So yeah, if you want to go directly to settings, Windows I is a great one. Thank you for reminding me about that one.
All right, so that's it from the chat for right now.
I'm going to ask you a question, Liz, real quick, because it just
Sure.
keeps coming up. Why does it keep saying press right to search? What is it? Press right to do a preview, something or other?
Oh, to switch preview?
Yeah.
If you press the right arrow there, it'll say action submenu, and it will give you open, like you can up and down arrow through that. It'll say open, pin to start, pin to taskbar, or app settings. And so for whatever you've typed there in that search box, if you press right arrow, you get some options. So you can pin it to your start menu, your taskbar, you can open it, or you can go to the settings if it's, for that application or whatever that is that you typed.
That's one of those I just wasn't real comfortable messing with.
Yeah, no, I
wasn't
understand.
sure.
There's so many different settings there that you have options. And if you're searching for a file, let's see, how does this work? If you're searching for a file, you can open the file location, copy the path, which we're going to talk about here in a minute what the path is, or you can open it. So you get different options if you're searching for a file, and you press right arrow there. Okay, which that brings us right to our next topic about accessing folders and files using this PC. Now, a lot of people like to use Windows Explorer, which is fine. You can open that with Windows E, or you can also use this PC. Now, you may remember this PC, or you may know this PC was previously called My Computer, or more recently, just Computer. Interestingly enough, if you go to your Windows search and you type My Computer or just Computer, this PC comes up. You can also type this PC as well. But I just thought that was kind of interesting that it still comes up, using those words, those terms. So you can use this PC to manage your folders and your files. You can access it by pressing the Windows key and searching for it. You can type this PC into the search, and then when you press enter on it, you will get a list of folders, files, even drives. I'm going to go ahead and let's share my screen because I want to show you guys this here. Okay.
The screen share meeting controls.
Can you see the
Windows
desktop
M,
in here?
folder view list view FS
We
reader
got
3.
here?
Oh,
Okay,
3 of
great.
11.
Okay, so this PC, if I press the Windows key, which I did, and I don't hear anything. So let's try that again.
Search box edit.
All right. I'll type this PC.
This PC app. Press right to switch preview.
All right. So I am going to enter there.
PC, enter. This PC, items view multi-select list box, folders expanded.
Okay, so here we have a list of folders.
Downloads, videos, devices and drives expanded.
We have current, what am I trying to say? Frequently used folders here. Then down here we have
devices and drives expanded.
Devices and drives. And when it says expanded, they call this a tree view. What it means is we can press the left arrow key. Usually.
Folders, devices and drives collapsed.
Okay, that collapsed. It just didn't say it. So it's collapsed. And if we want to expand it, we press the right arrow key.
Devices and drives expanded.
Okay. So what you have here, it's kind of like you're going up and down the tree trunk. And when you want to branch out onto one of these things that are collapsed, you just press your right arrow and then it opens that up. Now this is usually expanded. And under devices and drives, we have
local disk C, 8 of 8.
The local disk, which is C. And if I had a flash drive here connected, which I don't, I could press right arrow and go to that. Now, so this is where you can go to look for files. You can go here to, I could
devices
up arrow.
Folders, downloads, 4 of 8.
I could go to downloads from here.
3D object, folder 7 row header.
I don't personally use this a whole lot just simply because I do a search for things, but it is sometimes if you just really want to go through and, clean out some folders or really delve in there and, look for some things, you can go to this PC. And again, you guys might prefer to use Windows Explorer. It's just a matter of personal preference. So I'm going to exit here.
Alt F4. Meeting controls.
And let's
Alt S.
see if you guys have any additional questions here.
No additional questions have been put in the chat.
Okay, great. Now, if you have, when you're in either Windows Explorer or you're in this PC, you press enter on an item if you want to access it. So if I found the downloads folder, I could press enter. It would go to the downloads folder. And then I would have my files there. I could arrow through those and then press enter when I want to open a file. Oh yeah, we have a polling question, don't we?
Yes, we do. So at the end, if you put this question out for everybody,
Absolutely.
and the question is about this PC. This PC in Windows 10 equates to what feature in previous versions of Windows? Is it my computer, my documents, my files, or my briefcase? This PC equates to my computer, my documents, my files, or my briefcase.
All right, and the chat is open if you've got questions or comments or anything you'd like Elizabeth to demo. All right, so a comment came in. You can also see your cloud drives like OneDrive.
Yes. Yes, you sure can. That's a great comment. Thank you for that. Yeah. Which is very useful.
Great. And people are right on this poll, moving quickly through it. Just the one question. So take another moment and check out our poll question. Again, questions, comments, or anything you'd like to see demonstrated in the chat. If you can't access the poll for any reason, you can always put your response in the chat. All right, so for the question, this PC in Windows 10 equates to what feature in previous versions of Windows? Your options were my computer, my documents, my files, or my briefcase. 93% say my computer, 7% say my files. Elizabeth, what was the correct answer?
My computer. And for anyone who's wondering, yes, my briefcase was once upon a time a thing back in Windows 95.
All right, so we're going to end the poll and we're going to hand it back to you.
All right, let's talk about creating a folder. There, again, there are multiple ways to do things in Windows, of course, but I just want to show you a really quick, easy way to create a folder. And I'm going to demonstrate that, but you navigate to where you want to create the folder. And then you press the keyboard command Control Shift and the letter N, November, Control Shift N to activate the Create Folder command. Type your folder name and then press Enter. So let me go over here and share my screen once again. And
Screen share.
here we are.
You are viewing Windows M folder.
You see in here what's going on here.
JAWS 2021.
All right, you guys hear JAWS?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to go to Documents to create a new folder. So I'm going to press Windows.
Search box edit.
I'll start typing Documents.
Downloads. Documents. File folder. Press right to switch preview.
And I'm going to enter. It said File folder, so I'm going to press Enter.
Doc. Enter. Documents. Items view multi-select list box.
Okay, so I'm in Documents and I want to create a folder called Blog Posts, right? So I'm going to press Control Shift N.
Control Shift N. Edit. New folder.
All right, and by default, it has here new folder. If I just start typing, it'll type over that. So I'm going to type Blog Posts.
Blog.
And I didn't space, but I have my character echo set to words. So if I don't space, it won't announce that word, but I'm going to press Insert Up arrow.
Edit blog posts.
And that will read the current line here. So that's a JAWS command. I'll press Enter.
Enter. Items view multi-select list box. Blog posts 5/11/2021 12:45 p.m. File folder 4:55. Blog posts.
All right, and it places me there on that folder. So
cut blog
if
post.
I wanted to go there, I could press Enter.
Enter. Items view list box.
And there's nothing there, but there will be in the future. So that's just a really quick way to create a folder. I'm going to Alt F4 out of it. And then I think we have another poll question, right?
Meeting control.
We have one final poll question
right.
for the
Awesome.
day. And it's about what we just talked about. So, what is the keyboard command for creating a folder? Is it Control plus Shift plus F, Control plus Shift plus N, Control plus N, or Shift plus N? So which is the keyboard command for creating that folder? Control Shift F, Control Shift N, Control N, or Shift N? And of course, you can add your questions or comments into the chat as you're voting on this poll as well.
Yes, we've had one comment put into the chat. For some users, it feels easier if you set my PC to open this PC instead of recent files.
I'm not sure I understand. Can you read that again?
For some users, it feels easier if you set my PC to open this PC instead of recent files.
Okay, does that mean in search? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if who the person who made that comment, if you'd like to clarify, feel free to, because I'm very curious about that.
Yeah.
Because when I go
You
to
were just
search, I'm sorry. I didn't
Oh,
mean to-
no, go ahead.
If I type in my PC, it comes up this PC, but you might be talking about something different. So feel free to clarify that.
And another question that comes in, I'm not really sure what it's referencing. So if this person could respond in the chat. Did you say this was a JAWS command? Can it be used as a Windows command? Is that regarding the poll question that we're currently
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
We're currently on? So if you want to clarify in the chat, please do.
Now, if you're talking about the insert up arrow that I use, that is a JAWS command. But if you're referring to the one in that we just talked about, the poll question, that's a Windows command.
Great. Okay, and a clarification on the earlier comment about my PC and this PC. In Windows Explorer, when you press Windows plus E.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that.
All right, and yeah, somebody had asked, is this participant talking about Windows Explorer? So great, we solved the mystery.
We did. They
Excellent.
did. Yes.
Thanks everybody for your help in the chat. So most have taken our poll question. So what is the keyboard command for creating a folder? 78% said Control plus Shift plus N. And we had 11% for the other two responses, Control plus Shift plus F and Control plus N. Elizabeth, what was the correct answer?
Control plus Shift plus N. That's a tough one though. So you guys guessed you guys did great.
Awesome.
You guys guessed really well on that one.
Okay.
All right.
We'll hand it back to you to finish us out.
Okay, we got two more things. One I'm going to demonstrate, the other I'm just going to talk you through, and you'll know why when I get there, because it's about shutting down and restarting and things. So let's talk a little bit about selecting a folder when you're opening or saving a file. Now, this is where things can get really tricky, especially if you're new to Windows 10, where you're trying to figure out, where did I put that file? Where did it save that file? How do you know where it is, but how do I find that file? And you're trying to tab and arrow through all the dialog box, the open and save. So I want to show you a quick way, and I'm going to show you from the open or the save dialog box. I'm going to show you from both actually, and open and save. So I'm going to share my screen once again here.
Screen share.
All right,
You are
are
viewing
we sharing the screen here?
Windows M folder. Meeting controls.
Okay. Can you
JAWS
hear
and
JAWS
Windows
and
10
see
APA.
what's on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So if you go to open or save a file, I'm going to show you this from the Save As dialog box because they're going to be very similar. Opening a file, you know, you're going to have folders. You can go to locate the file, or saving the file, the same thing. You know, so you have three basic components to where a file is stored. This is called the path. You have the drive, the folder, or folder and subfolders, and then you have the file itself. So in this case, we're on the hard drive. So that's my C drive. And this can be different for every computer. Once again, you'll notice when you plug a flash drive, for example, into your computer, in one computer, it might come up as drive D. In one computer, it might come up as drive E. So it just really depends on how that computer is set up. But you have those three basic things that you can do. So when you go, I'm going to press F12 here to save as.
F12. Save as dialog.
And like I said, the open dialog is very similar. So I'm just going to show you from here. So here we have a file name. If I press Control L,
address edit combos,
we have the address bar here, just like we do on a web page, kind of. So if I knew, for example, that my flash drive was drive D, I could type in D:/ and press enter. And then it's only going to show me files. If I'm opening, it's only going to show me files that are on that drive. Or if I'm saving, it's going to let me save on that drive. If I want to save in my, let's say, blog post folder here that I just created, I could type in blog posts and press enter.
Posts, toolbar, all locations split.
And now it's going to let me save this file in the blog posts folder. So I'm going to tab to the file name edit box here.
Search edit box, edit. Search box. Save as dial. Preview. Shell folder. Items view list box. File name. Edit combo. JAWS and Windows 10 APH webinar notes. Alt+N.
And it said Alt+N. You should be able to press Alt+N to jump there. Sometimes that gets hung up for me. I don't know why, but sometimes it does. But I'm going to press enter.
Edit unavailable. Page 3. Page 3.
All right. So now let's do a search for this folder that I created.
Search box, edit.
And I'm going to type blog post.
Bluetooth and other. Blog posts. File folder posts.
And enter.
Blog posts. Items view multi-select list box. Not selected. JAWS and Windows 10 APH webinar notes.
And there we have the file that we just saved. It said it's not selected because it's not. I can press the space bar to select it, but that's where it is. So if you're opening or saving a file, you can press Control L to go to the address bar. You can either type in a drive letter if you know that drive letter of, for example, your flash drive, or you can type in a folder, or you can type in a drive letter and a folder. This depends on what information that you have, that you know, and press enter. And then you can either, if you're opening a file, you tab to the list of files that are in that folder and arrow to the one you want and press enter, or you tab to, if you're saving, you tab to the save box where the edit box where you type in the file name and type a name and press enter. So I know that's a lot of information there. I just wanted to show you that you can actually cut down on some of those steps so you don't have to keep tabbing and arrowing around to find the folder when you want to open or save a file.
Meeting control. Alt-S.
All right. Do we have any questions before I tell you the last task?
These are questions we can save to the end.
Okay.
If we've got time.
All right. One more thing I want to share with you here, and this is, I'll just do this very quickly. Shutting down and restarting and those things are not as easy to find as they once were. So I just want to share a few keyboard commands with you. So if you want to sign out quickly, you can press Windows key plus the letter X together, then U by itself, and then the letter I by itself. If you want to restart, it's Windows key X, U, then R. And if you want to shut down, it's Windows key X, U, and then U. So that concludes all the tasks. And I also wanted to mention too, If you're in an application and you want a list of hotkeys for JAWS hotkeys, you can press Insert H as in hotel. And if you want a list of Windows keys, you press Insert W.
Elizabeth, I don't think we can hear you.
Yeah, it's like I think she just disappeared.
Hey, Liz, can you hear us? I'm going to try chatting her.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
Okay,
now.
I don't know what happened to my headset. What's the last thing you guys heard?
Pressing W.
Oh, okay. Insert W
Yes,
for
yes.
Windows hotkeys. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So Windows H is for a list of JAWS hotkeys in an application, and Windows W is for a list of Windows hotkeys in an application. Okay, so what other questions do we have?
All right. So we have a few questions, but first, since we're running tight on time, I'm going to ask that we hand it back over to Paul to wrap up with our discoveries. For those of you, if you have training questions, you can always contact training@vispero.com. I'll drop that back in the chat. So if you have questions about where do you recommend starting with low vision users with JAWS, I think training at Vispero, that might be a great place to start. So let me drop that back in the chat and Paul will send it to you to wrap up.
Hey, so our discoveries for today. So fortunately, we can say goodbye to the learning curve for the most part. Windows 10 is the last full upgrade of Windows. Now, caveat is that there are changes made throughout the year, and so there will be new things added, but no more of the brand new version of Windows. What's it like? Here's the good, here's the bad, here's the horror stories. You know, you're always going to find them out there. No more of that. So just now we just got to get used to the incremental updates and changes that they make, which are a whole lot better than learning a whole new operating system once we get Windows 10 down. There's multiple ways to navigate the desktop and taskbar. There's really multiple ways to do all sorts of things that we do. You can easily find applications, settings, and files using Windows Search. It's an extremely valuable tool. And you can use the keyboard to sign out, restart, and shut down your computer. And let's go to our next slide here on our annual licenses. Many of you probably know, but in case you don't, you can get a JAWS annual license through APH and our portal for $90. You can get a Zoom text license for $80. If you need help with that, contact customer service. They'll be glad to get you started on that. It's a great way to get that annual student license.